Today I'm talking about the top 5 books that changed my life and for any of you hustlers are must reads. Let's get into it. What up friends, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you being here, and today we're talking about 5 books that absolutely changed my life that I say are must reads for any of you guys out there. I recommend these books to my friends and families all the time, and I just want to share them with you. These must reads are a great investment in your own self and your own future, and I highly recommend them if you're into reading or audiobooks at all. Up first on my list, an absolutely requirement for every one of you guys to read, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book changed my career life, changed my personal life, changed my life in terms of friendships, changed my life in terms of negotiation and getting things that I wanted. It's just a book that all around can be beneficial for every single one of you guys. This book was written back in the 60s, and the principles are from things that Benjamin Franklin and early presidents did, and these principles still ring true today. Read this book. If there's nothing else you get from this video, read How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's not a gimmicky book. It's not a slimy or sleazy book, kind of like the title gives you that vibe. It's not like that at all. What it does is it gives you different tools and different mindsets to how to give yourself a perspective of how other people are feeling when you're having conversations or arguments or anything like that. One principle I learned from this that changed my life was to always make other people feel important. No matter if it's your boss or your spouse or your child or a friend, all people want in this life is to feel important. And if you're constantly making people feel important, like you're listening to them, paying attention to them, hearing what they say, fulfilling their needs, man, it's gonna change the relationship that you have with whoever that person is. If it's your boss, if you give them the respect they so desire, all they want is to feel important and feel like their job matters and that their place in the office matters. If you can give them that, I guarantee you're gonna have more of a positive relationship than you probably do right now. That's just one powerful principle that this book gave you, and there's so many more, so I highly recommend this one. It was life-changing for me. Up next is more of a financial and career-based book. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure you guys have heard of it, and I'm sure you've had this recommended to you before, but stop today and listen to this book or take a read for it. It is an absolute game changer and changes your mindset to moving from a paycheck to paycheck type employee to an owner or someone that has assets that work for them. The thing that I love most about this book is it really categorizes and taught me the difference between assets and liabilities and why those distinctions are so important in your life. And really, when you should be willing to spend your money on things that are fun and enjoyable and liabilities, and when you should not be at that point, and when you should be focused more on assets. This book was a real eye-opener for me and really changed the perspective of my future and where I'm gonna be planning financially and career-based. So if you're into those sort of things, I really recommend this one. It's a really good read. And it's a short read, it's not too in-depth. Now, as we're going through this list, I provide easy to get to links for all of these for purchasing on Amazon, used or new, as well as Audible. So check out those links below. But let's get into my next recommendation. The next book I have is actually a real game changer for me. It's called The Miracle Morning. This book is really life-changing because I've always been a night owl, and I recently tried to become more of a morning person. But after I read this book, it really opened my eyes as to why it's so important to start your day off right and change your mindset from the get. I would say the thing I loved most about this book is it looked at so many successful people, athletes, politicians, business people, entrepreneurs. It's just so many different gamuts of people, and looked at their morning routines and what they did to get themselves in a position to be successful throughout their days and build success over time. And then they combined those principles into one easy, usable formula to start your morning off right every single day. I love it. I love this book. If you're not a morning person, I highly recommend you read this. If you are, I still highly recommend you read this and get your mornings started right. It's a really good book. It's called The Miracle Morning. I really love it. Up next on my list is a book I read a long time ago, and I still think about it and read parts of it often. It's called The 4-Hour Workweek. The 4-Hour Workweek is kind of a weird book because it's so out there and so different from anything that you're going to read or that you've heard thus far on how to build a career or how to build a life. The 4-Hour Workweek kind of flips everything on its head and tells you tips and tricks to hack systems into getting your work week down into a shrunken, focused system. And I really like that. It taught me so many things. One of the things that it taught me that stuck with me to this day is that when you have jobs, even when you're working a job, a corporate job or something else, you can outsource some of your responsibilities to overseas workers for a very cheap fraction of the cost and almost have an assistant at your disposal for like $10 or $12 an hour. Those principles, like things like that you would never think that could do, it's really life-changing when you come down to it. And I used a lot of these principles in building my wedding photography business. It's so helpful in saving time, working efficiently, and working smart. That's what Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Workweek is all about. I highly recommend it. It'll be life-changing. Definitely check it out. Last on my list is one of my favorite books and one you probably haven't heard of. It's called The Millionaire Next Door. This book is really life-changing for me because it really helped me to stop comparing myself and my success to others. The reason is The Millionaire Next Door compiled data points from, I think it's like 10,000 millionaires across America, and they put together things they spend money on, things they save money on, what kind of car they drive, what their average house size is, and different things like that, so you really get a perspective of what the average millionaire in the United States is really doing. Now, they really make a distinction between millionaires that are true millionaires, like have $1 million cash liquid assets in their accounts, and like millionaires on paper that have $1 million house that they're in debt for. So it's really eye-opening. One of the things that I love that stuck with me is they proved and they showed data that the average millionaire actually doesn't drive a luxury car. The average millionaire in the United States drives a Ford, like an F-150, I think was the average car across the board that most of the millionaires drove. That was so eye-opening to me because as a car lover, I always think of millionaires as driving the flashy Benzes and Beamers and Ferraris and Lambos and stuff like that. And it was just, you know, so refreshing to hear that actually, no, your average millionaire and smart person with their money drives a domestic car that they don't have payments on. It was just so life-changing for me because it changed my mindset to really not compare myself and not want to be something that isn't realistic. What I love about this book most is that it changed my mindset to really focus on what's most important. And to me, that's happiness and being content with where I'm at and content with what I've built and not having the flashy car, the flashy house, the blah, blah, blah. So I highly recommend this one, especially if you guys are into finance or anything like that. It was so interesting to me to read all about other millionaires. So I really appreciate that. If I brought you some value, hit me with a thumbs up and a subscribe for more awesome videos like this. I appreciate you guys. That's all I got for my list today. If you have good book recommendations, I'm always looking for them. Leave me a comment below or hit me on Instagram or Twitter. I would really appreciate that. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.